When you think about characters from recent Marvel comics who have exploded with popularity and solidified their longevity, Kamala Khan as Miss Marvel is near the top of that list. She's so popular, even though she debuted in her own comic book series in 2014, just a short 6 years ago, she's already earned herself an entire series on Disney's Disney Plus streaming platform. Marvel recently brought on a theoretical physicist named Clifford Johnson to help with the series, the same man who helped shape the concept of time travel in Avengers Endgame, carving out the laws of time travel in the multiverse and the future of the MCU. And it appears that Miss Marvel may be critical to that. So who is she? And just what is her comic book backstory? Let's talk about Miss Marvel. But before we do, let me say thank you for watching JLS Comics, whether you've been with me for a while or it's your first time here. If you enjoyed the video or videos like it, don't forget to subscribe and share it so you and your friends don't miss the content I upload just like this every few days. Let's jump into the story. Kamala Khan was born and raised in Jersey City, New Jersey by Muslim Pakistani-American parents who actually moved to America from Karachi just before she was born. When Kamala was growing up, she loved her family, her heritage, and her culture, but she also felt different and isolated from the other kids at school. They mocked her in a way that tweens and teens tend to do, and so she found escape in video games, social media, namely following the news of her idol, a superhero named Carol Danvers, who at the time was calling herself Miss Marvel. Kamala also had her close friends Nakia and Bruno Corelli, a future love interest that she was able to spend time with and with whom she enjoyed the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles spoof called Tween Mutant Samurai Turtles. One day she even got to see Captain Marvel fighting Yon-Rogg firsthand. On one fateful New Jersey night, a rebellious Kamala defied her parents' wishes and went to a waterfront party right on the Hudson River with her friend Bruno. There she was teased by a classmate named Josh, who would become a local villain named Discord, his girlfriend Zoe, who would become a friend later on. But Kamala left, and on the way home she was enveloped in a green cloud called Terrigen Mist. So let's pause here for a moment. Millennia ago, an ancient race of cosmic beings known as the Celestials were traveling the cosmos and performing genetic experiments on various species such as those on Earth, Hala, the Kree homeworld, as well as with the Skrulls. On Earth, these experiments led to the emergence of Eternals and Deviants and Mutants. And even before the Celestials created the Kree Eternals on the Kree homeworld, another ancient group of cosmic beings called the Progenitors experimented on the Kree. They used something called Primogen to give the Kree an evolutionary leap from primitive to highly advanced. So ages later, when the Kree saw what the Celestials did on Earth, they wanted to conduct experiments of their own and start splicing Eternals' genetic material with that of Homo sapiens, which were untouched by the Celestials, and this created a line called the Inhumans. The Kree wanted to use these tests to kickstart another evolutionary advancement since they'd stagnated, and just maybe these new super soldiers would help them win the war against the Skrulls. What happened instead was that instead of Primogen, they created something inferior called Terrigen. And when the Terrigen crystals were exposed to water in certain conditions, the crystals released a mist called the Terrigen Mist, a powerful cloud which initiates Terrigenesis, meaning it activates the dormant Inhuman DNA. And so that is what Kamala was exposed to on her walk home from the waterfront because a gene bomb had been exploded by Black Bolt, leader of the Inhumans. The mist awoke her latent Inhuman DNA. Incidentally, at the same time her friend Cameron was exposed to it, although he'd become a villain. Kamala was immediately enwrapped in a cocoon or Terrigenesis and was faced with visions of Captain Marvel and some other heroes, and when she emerged, she was transformed into a young Miss Marvel, identical to her, even her old black costume. She also realized that she had extraordinary polymorphic powers. She could change her appearance into anything she wanted. She went back to the waterfront and ended up saving Zoe by changing into Miss Marvel and making her hand grow to a giant size. Later, she was shot while stopping a robbery at the Circle Q where her friend Bruno worked, so she realized she also had healing powers. And for the Disney Plus show, this is likely where the theoretical physicist will come in. See, her powers to change and heal are easily explainable as an ability to alter and rearrange her molecular structure. But what about her growth powers? The material to grow has to come from somewhere, right? It's scientifically impossible to create or destroy matter or energy, and it has to go somewhere when she goes back to her normal size. That's basic physics. What's happening is that Kamala has access to a temporal vortex, a wormhole called an Einstein-Rosen bridge that allows her to interact with her past and her future selves across the entire time stream and use their molecules to embiggen, to grow, and then put them back when she's done. And the transference happens, according to a character named Singularity, outside of time and space, molecularly allowing her to see the entire time stream all at once. It may be a literal borrowing of them, meaning she's in a constant state of flux as her molecules are passed around her infinite selves, or it may be something akin to quantum entanglement extrapolated to a temporal level of duality and excitement of particles within the quantum field across the past and infinite possible future selves as postulated by string theory. The idea that one particle can exist in two places at the same time. That's confirmed science, or in this case, two Miss Marvels. But that might mean with superposition involved that she's linked to one specific alternate Miss Marvel at a time from her past or her future. So the borrowing theory is more plausible, but Clifford will sort that out for us. It's a sort of poetic comic booky representation of the wholeness of life, a journey that Hermann Hesse took readers on in the novel Siddhartha. But realizing what was happening to her, that her life would never be the same and that she would be a hero, Kamala went about designing a suit, something that would evoke her hero Captain Marvel as well as her Pakistani and Muslim heritage. She made a costume out of a burkini, and another she made with her friend Bruno that one of the creators, Sana Amanat, says is influenced by elements of a shalwar kameez. After a run-in with a guy named the Inventor, her first villain, Miss Marvel promised to defend and protect Jersey City. Right after this, she teamed up with Wolverine to take down the Inventor and a creature he made that was part bird, part Thomas Edison. It was Wolverine who realized that Kamala was Inhuman, and so he told Medusa, Black Bolt's wife, and an Inhuman royal about her. And that's when Lockjaw, the Inhuman dog, showed up and they became friends. So she would then team up with Spider-Man in the city, and the writer of Spider-Man at the time, Dan Slott, said that Kamala is close to Peter Parker and how she has to juggle her life and superheroics and mistakes and victories, and she would later have run-ins with Cameron, the kid I mentioned from Jersey City, who is now part of a terrorist network with Kaboom and his character named Lineage. As the incursions drew the universe closer to destruction and to Secret Wars, Miss Marvel finally met her idol, Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel. During Secret Wars, Miss Marvel was a spy on Battleworld, an agent of Attilan. Then after Secret Wars ended and once the universe was restored, Miss Marvel met Sam Alexander, the young Nova, in All New, All Different Avengers #1. They met again in the next issue along with the Avengers, who she would join up with, along with Miles Morales as Spider-Man, and so it became Kamala, Sam, and Miles as close superhero friends. And a few issues later, the new young Wasp named Nadia Van Dyne joined the group. Around the time of the second superhero civil war, Captain Marvel called Miss Marvel up to Alpha Flight Space Station to tell her she was in charge of the Carol Cadets, which was a group of heroes who would use an Inhuman named Ulysses' ability to see those possible futures, and they actually used his power to stop a tank from destroying Jersey City. Afterwards, becoming disillusioned by Carol and some choices the Avengers made, Kamala quit the team. And that's when she teamed up with Silk, Jimmy Woo, and Shang-Chi to form a team called the Protectors. It's a team that linked up with the Agents of Atlas during the War of the Realms, and she was offered membership in Agents of Atlas, but instead she decided to team up with Spider-Man Nova, Amadeus Cho, and Kid Cyclops, along with Viv Vision to form a new team called the Champions. And together the Champions fought villains, they teamed up with Gwenpool, and even teamed up to free Inhumans from internment camps during Secret Empire when Hydra Cap and Hydra took over America. But that's when Riri Williams, also known as Ironheart, Patriot, Red Locust, and Nadia Pym joined up with them. In 2018, Miss Marvel fought Hydra, Becky St. Jude as a Lockdown, and Josh as Discord. Kareem, a kid from Pakistan, showed up in class, and later he revealed himself as Red Dagger. Miss Marvel disappeared and her friends filled in for her, some of them still pretending to be unaware that Miss Marvel was actually Kamala, although they knew they were just waiting for her to come out at the right time and tell them. She was at a school because she had quit being a hero. She was done with it. Captain Marvel helped her friends, while another character named Naftali with a giant sub convinced Kamala to come back and to be a hero. In 2019, Miss Marvel's parents melted and turned into gelatinous constructs right after she revealed to them her identity as a superhero. But it turns out they were made by this group of aliens who mistook her for the Destined One, Sword of Safa, and Shield of a Million Children, which turned out to be an elite Kree warrior called Storm Ranger. So she was transported to another planet and given a Kree nanosuit that bonded with her, much in the way the Venom symbiotes bond with a host. Kamala went back to Earth where she learned her parents forgot her identity and that her dad had an incurable disease. See, the Terrigen Mist infects people with latent Inhuman DNA. Some of them get powers, but others get a disease, which is what happened to her father. Her new suit enhanced her powers, but almost took her moral control away, and she nearly killed Discord and then nearly killed Hyde while Doctor Strange was treating her dad. So she fought back on it, and eventually the Storm Ranger separated from Miss Marvel, and after they fought briefly, it went off on its own. So She just met a new kid hero named Amulet, just as the outlawed story arc began, where there was a battle at Cole's school where Kamala goes to school. They had a guest teacher from the Marshall Islands, and there was a disaster that collapsed the building. Kamala was nearly killed. She was in intensive care, and so legislators actually passed a bill called the Underage Superhuman Welfare Act, which was given the nickname Kamala's Law, after Kamala and her injuries. But as teased for upcoming champions and the rest of the story arc, Kamala said that her and her team are not going to go down with a fight. We'll find out more at the end of summer and into fall 2020, just how that story will end for our young heroes. And so she continues to be a relatable hero, fighting in space and on Earth while dealing with family and health and school and friends all at the same time. As for her upcoming 2021 Disney Plus series, it's looking rather exciting for Ms. Marvel herself, from the inclusion of theoretical physics to the potential for other teams of young heroes to show up, young Avengers, Champions, Agents of Atlas, and rumors of Red Dagger as well as Cameron showing up. Anticipation is building, but it won't be the first time we've seen her on a television screen. Ms. Marvel has been featured in games like Future Fight, Contest of Champions, Ultimate Alliance, and Square Enix's upcoming Marvel's Avengers game, not to mention countless animated appearances already. It's safe to say that Ms. Marvel has solidified her presence in the Marvel Universe, and her future is bright, and we'll be there to continue following it along the way. But for now, that's a wrap on this one, my friends. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you can be one of the first to know when I upload videos just like this every few days. I'm Jesse, this is JLS Comics, and I'll see you soon.